watching Juan Gotti Talking Sports.
YouTube, what's going on? It's Juan Gotti here with another Washington Commanders video, and in today's video, I'm coming on here with the official Washington Commanders 53-man roster. So without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. But before we do, make sure you go down below, leave a like on this video, subscribe if you're new, and turn on post notifications so you get notified when new content is posted to the channel. We're on the road to 5,000 subscribers, so that subscribe button again if you haven't already. Also, don't forget to follow me on my social media links down below in the description, and cop some Juan Gotti Talking Sports merch. We're on the road to 5,000 subscribers, so that subscribe button again if you haven't already. Let's get straight into today's video. So, 53-man roster is official. The Washington Commanders is posted. It was a couple of leaks, about 30-40 minutes ago to an hour, but I wanted to make my video once the team officially put out their roster, and the team did that. Let me first start by saying Brian Robinson, he was in the building today. He was back, all smiles, and it was amazing, bro. So he was hitting the knee, and per Mike Garafolo, the bullet missed everything, and that was God saying, you're not done. Football is still in your future. You need to play. This is what you're made to do. And besides sports, that's one thing. But just as a human, I'm glad it missed all of that, because now he can walk again and stuff like that. So he's starting the healing process. And shout out to Brian Robinson, man. You wouldn't, the way he came in the building today, how happy he was and smiling, you wouldn't have known something like that tragically took place 2 days ago. Okay, so now let's get into the 53-man roster, the official one, and let's kick things off with the quarterback position. So on the offensive side of the ball, the quarterback position, Taylor Heineke, Carson Wentz, and Sam Howell. So nothing surprising there. I mean, the order is going by jersey number. If you can't realize, it's going by jersey number, so that's why Taylor Heineke is first. But obviously, we know Carson Wentz is number one. No surprise again. No time to waste on there. We know these three guys were going to make make the roster at the quarterback position. Carson Wentz is your starter. Taylor Heineke is your backup, and Sam Howell is your third string. Running back position, a position that pretty much got me mad a little bit just because of a special someone not making it. But you look at it, Brian Robinson. The big question was, will he be on the 53-man roster? Is he going to be on the physically unable to perform list now and let him heal up? Ron Rivera has him on the 53-man roster. They feel like since they got so much positive news back that he may even be ready for possibly week 2 or week 3 versus the Lions or Eagles. I'm kind of counting him out of week 1 just because it's so soon. It's no reason to rush him this soon, okay? So I think he's going to be out of week 1, and he may return week 2, week 3, and that's the same feeling that Ron Rivera and this team has, so that's the reason why he's starting on the 53-man roster. Then after that, you have J.D. McKissick, Antonio Gibson, and Jonathan Williams. Jonathan Williams is the guy that I really didn't want to make this roster because I feel like Jared Patterson is better, and this is not my PG County bias in me. This isn't one of my favorite players in Jared Patterson bias in me. This is just me being truthfully honest with you guys. Jared Patterson, in my opinion, is better than Jonathan Williams, but the reason why I believe they kept Jonathan Williams is because he's more of that, that he gives them that more of Antonio Gibson and Brian Robinson feel if they were to go down. As suppose you go to a 5'8", Jared Patterson. Me personally, I wouldn't have a problem with that because I know how good he gets. He runs bigger than what his size is, but they obviously felt otherwise, okay? So that's the 4 running backs. Now you're moving over to the wide receiver position. Jahan Dotson, De'Ami Brown, Curtis Samuel, Dax Milne, Terry McLaurin, and Cam Sims, rather. So, again, nothing surprising there. Alex Erickson was a guy that they, possibly would have kept around if Brian Robinson's injury was more, severe. He may make the practice squad. But after, I think his chances to make the roster really diminished after Antonio Gibson fumbled versus the Panthers. I know he kind of caught a stray, right, because he ain't do nothing wrong, but they realized, hey, we need to use Antonio Gibson more as a weapon, as a kick returner, as a slot guy, and let Brian Robinson be out every down back bell cow, and that's where I feel like Alex Erickson's chances went out the window. And also Dax Milne having a phenomenal preseason, man. He was really, really good from a receiver standpoint. So that's the wide receiver position. Again, nothing too surprising there. Kyrick McGowan was another guy that really didn't have a chance. Matt Cole, he had a solid preseason, but we knew these guys wasn't really going to make the roster. Now, something interesting here at the tight end position, okay? The Washington Commanders decided to keep Curtis Hodges on the active roster, Logan Thomas, Cole Turner, John Bates, and Amani Rogers. So they're going 5 active tight ends on the roster. Now, obviously, come week 5 versus the Tennessee Titans when Chase Young is ready to make his season debut, I'm pretty sure they're going to pluck one of these guys off, if not both. But as of right now, since, Chase is out, it has a little bit more room, and they wanted to bring both of these guys up, and that's good. Special teams give them some type of experience and whatnot, right? Because these are 2 guys that I would like to keep around the room and keep around the organization, because these are guys that are going to develop and have some promise in the future, right? So, again, I was really surprised that they kept 5. I thought they was going to roll with 3, maybe 4, considering the fact that Logan Thomas is still coming back. But since he came back off the physical unable to perform list, I thought maybe they keep 3 and Logan Thomas will be ready by week 1. But they decided to keep 5 tight ends, so that's interesting. Let me count one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tight ends. Now, moving over to the offensive line here, you got Trey Turner, Andrew Norwell, Wes Schweitzer, Charles Leno, Chase Roulier, Chris Paul, Sam Cosmi, Sadiq Charles, and Cornelius Lucas. And for the most part, nothing out of the ordinary. Everybody on this roster at the offensive line position, I expected to make this roster. Cornelius Lucas, Sadiq Charles was probably one of the only guys that may be like, hey, if he doesn't make this roster, it wouldn't be surprising because he was having a little rough start to the preseason. But for the most part, nothing surprising. Maybe Keith Ishmael not making it, but again, he hasn't been good at all, since coming out of San Diego State, man. Anytime he gets in the game, he gets pushed around. Doesn't really look too good. But again, if you look at this offensive side of the ball as a whole, nothing is surprising. Like, I'm pretty sure, maybe for me personally, outside of the 5 tight ends and replacing Jonathan Woods with Jared Patterson, I pretty much have everything spot on, and it's not that hard to guess because this team knows what the direction they're going, and it's not a lot of surprises, you know what I'm saying? Now, moving over to the defensive side of the ball, the defensive ends, a position that was going to be interesting considering the fact that you're going to be missing one of your star players, Chase Young, for the first 4 weeks of the season. So they decided to go with Shaka Toney, Montez Sweat, Casey Toohill, James Smith-Williams, and F.A. Obata. So they have 3 defensive ends. I believe Shaka Toney was a guy that deserved a roster spot. James Smith-Williams was quickly grown into owning his roster spot, and I feel like he's going to have a big year this year, at least to start it off. He looks really, really good. As for F.A. Obata, he's a guy that's had some really good experience. He's a guy that can go in there, make a few tackles, get to the quarterback a few times. Remember, he had a good year with the Panthers not too long ago, so it's some talent up in there. Casey Toohill is a good depth guy too, so I'm not really too surprised by the defensive end room either. Again, maybe one of these guys get clipped when Chase Young comes back, but we'll see. We're still a ways away from that. Now you go to the defensive tackle room, another easy group to put together. So you have Daron Payne, or Daniel Wise, Jonathan Allen, Daron Payne, and Fedarian Mathis. Again, I had this in my prediction stream last night. Nothing too surprising there. These guys are the 4 defensive linemen that was going to make this roster. I really thought David Bada had some promise. I thought maybe this was the year he actually gets called up. Maybe make this roster, but he got cut today because now the International Pathway Program, it now counts towards the roster as a spot. Typically in the past it didn't, so we were able to keep David Bada on the team, but now that it does, he had to get cut, and maybe he'll make it back on the practice squad. Now, you go to another position that was struggling at depth, okay? Linebacker, okay? Dejon Harris makes this roster. If you don't know about Dejon Harris, you know him by Scooter Harris. That's Cam Curl's boy. He makes this roster. Milo Eifler is another guy that makes this roster. Had a really, really good hit. I believe it was it versus the Panthers or Chiefs. I think it was versus the Panthers. The dude came across the middle, and Milo Eifler laid him out. Then you have, after him, you have David Mayo, Jamin Davis, and Cole Holcomb. Now, again, I'm not too happy with the depth still. Like, yes, at least you have, some other guys besides David Mayo, so he's not the immediate guy you have to go to, but I'm still not comfortable with this depth. Like, you seen Milo Eifler last year on Sunday Night Football just looking lost. My man didn't even have a picture up there. DeJounte Harris is an interesting piece. You know, he was I want to say a special teams guy last year. So it's interesting to see what these guys can bring to the table. More likely than not, if our linebackers stay healthy and Jimmy Davis go, hope I'm knocking on wood here, you wouldn't have to see none of these guys. They would just be special teams guys for most of the time. But I do expect Washington to probably make some attempt to see what's out there on the waiver wire at the linebacker position, and also with the linebacker position. Speaking about the waiver wire, that takes us right into our next position, the cornerback position, and this is a group that I think they need to get some help, okay? And I spoke on that multiple times in the past, and today spoke volumes to that, and I believe they agree with me when I say we need help at that position, because they cut Cornell, they cut Danny Johnson, they cut DeJuan Neal, and now you look at our 4 cornerbacks here. It's William Jackson, Benjamin St. Juice, Kendall Fuller, Christian Holmes. There's no way you're going into the season with just 4 cornerbacks. I feel like at some point they're going to add another guy, whether it's a veteran presence like a Joe Hayden or something like that. They just need more than what they have out there. Okay, I'm not comfortable with just our 3 starting guys and the only backup cornerback being Christian Holmes, a rookie. Okay, we need to adjust that, and I think we're going to, because I just feel like there's no way you go into week 1 versus the Jacksonville Jaguars just with just one depth corner. Okay, then you move over to the safety position, and Bobby McCain, Derek Forrest, Cam Kerr, Percy Butler, and Jeremy Reeves. Again, another position group. No surprise. Jeremy Reeves may be the only one that you'd be like, hey, he made the roster. But for me personally, he wasn't a surprise to make this roster, because I always spoke highly of Jeremy Reeves since 2020. You know, I felt like he could have made this roster last year. You know, every time he steps in there, he plays with like his hair is on fire, man, just running around making plays. You know, maybe it costs us a little bit sometimes just because he doesn't know how to when to just ease up sometimes. But I love the reckless abandon he plays with. You know, and he made his roster. He spoke about it, you know, in the paragraph he typed. He said, you know, getting cut 4 to 5 times, could have easily gave up, but he didn't. He stayed true to himself, stayed true to his grind. And he's a prime example of why you should never give up at what you want to do. And he made this roster. So shout out to Jeremy Reeves, Percy Butler, rookie, Cam Kerr, Bobby McCain, Derek Forrest. Derek Forrest is a guy that we know is in the running for that Buffalo nickel spot. He's had a really, really good offseason. So it's interesting to see what he does. A guy that, you know, was a special teams guy last year. Now he's on the actual roster as a safety, and he'll continue to contribute in the special teams department and also this year at his position. So it's going to be interesting to see how that's played out. Now, you finish it off with Tressway, Joey Sly, and Cam Cheeseman as your specialist. Another position group that's no shocker. Tressway, one of the best punters in football. Joey Sly had a shaky preseason, but I have all the confidence in the world that he'll get it settled down come week 1 versus Jacksonville. So, yeah, man, there is our 53-man roster as of right now. It's going to be interesting to see if anything changed. I believe some is going to change, but this is the initial 53-man roster. Let me know how you guys are feeling about it. I'm excited, man. We're 2 weeks away from kickoff. That feeling comes around every year around this time where we're finally getting the juices flowing. Football is about to be back, man. I cannot wait, man. Come this time, I want to say, it's actually next weekend now that I think about it. We'll be watching some Burgundy and Gold football that actually counts, and I will be at FedEx Field cheering on the good guys, man, cheering on the boys, so I cannot wait for that. But, yeah, man, there you have it. It's me, Juan Gotti. Like, comment, subscribe. Hail to the Washington Commanders. We're on the road to 5,000 subscribers. Hit that subscribe button again if you haven't already. Let me know how you guys feel about this initial 53-man roster. I'm out. Peace. Cross me one time, that's gonna get you popped. Get you popped, get you dropped.